come up with something for an intro that has something to do with robbing mines. I don't know. Have you heard that now you can, like, they're making it illegal to, like, take a certain drug? I don't really want to say what it is. Someone's definitely robbing people's minds. Like, I thought that the next step was to ban alcohol. Sorry to anyone who drinks alcohol, but I don't approve of you drinking alcohol. I'm not saying that I disapprove of you existing as a person. I just disapprove that you drink alcohol. Okay? But instead, they're legalizing whatever. Someone give people their minds back! Hey, what's up guys, it's from your favorite YouTuber here. I've actually already filmed my review for part 1 to 4 of The Invasion, but, you know, I'm at this other place, because The Invasion is Region 2, and I'm not sure if there's a place to play Region 2 here, but there might be. I don't know, but anyway, so I filmed that before I came here, and then, you know, so now we're just gonna review the rest of the Mind Robber, as you know. Oh, by the way, I got a grapefruit cup, even though I kinda ate most of it. And I have this watermelon. That's a lot of red fruit related thing. I also got this X on my hand, but it's gone now, so whatever. Also, I just want to mention how great it was that I was at 441 subscribers, and then I gained a subscriber and it made my day, and then I lost a subscriber and I lost the day. So without further ado, let's get... This is hard to do with one hand. What the heck? Yo, There we go, finally, there we go. Okay, do we have another light? We have a light over here. How do I turn this thing on? Is there a switch or something? Is this thing a switch? Can't do that with the disc in my hand. I'll just put the disc on the bike seat and hope that that works out. The thing isn't plugged in, okay. I guess that would explain it. There we go, now I got that light on, so now I can successfully check to make sure the disc is clean, despite the fact that it's probably going to work out fine anyway. Sorry that I'm in a bad mood, but school's coming back, and what the? Why did this come on and turn yellow? Oh, that's cool. It's like these lights come on, and then they go off, and then these 3 come on, and then all of them come on, and then it goes up. Okay, whatever. Okay, my goodness. Okay, just so you know, guys, school is coming in. And, like, every year school just gets harder, so, you know, I'm gonna have to work some stuff out, so please cut me some slack if I go a little bit without making a YouTube video. No disc. Oh, right, we have 2 DVD players, right, because, I don't know why we have 2 DVD players. Oh, yeah, because this one has a VCR, so we had to keep that, just in case we ever had to play that. Let's put that in there, and close, and close. Oh, the beginning of the disc contains the final credits of episode 2. A diddle-a-ling, 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 diddle-a-ling. Right, so where did we leave off? Alright, Jamie was struggling with this weird soldier thing on this pile of rocks. So for a Highlander, Jamie is unable to climb the rock pile very well, which is high land, ha ha ha. I guess Jamie has been traveling the TARDIS for a bit and has been to futuristic places, so he's learned to... I don't know. But they are historical. Oh, actually the Highlanders was the last historical one. But anyway, so Jamie's then comes to another rock pile, which, okay, I'll give him that. That looks like a pretty tough thing to climb. And then Jamie says, what I really need is, and then a rope falls down. So then he follows the rope, and then it leads to just a castle window. There's a castle window. Someone knew that Jamie needed a rope, or just found the rope and just wanted to throw... Oh, wait, it's actually Rapunzel's hair. It's actually Cinderella's hair. Wait, no, Cinderella was the one with the shoe. Which one? Rapunzel. That was the one with the hair. She threw her hair out. Like, out the castle. Like, over the pile of rocks. I guess it is, it's the Mind Robber, we let everything slide. So anyway, Jamie comes in and then meets good old Rapunzel. Sorry, I'm not... I gotta work on my fairy tales. Anyway, so Rapunzel fumbles basically every one of her lines. I got that from Stuart Review stuff, and he says according to him, if you look up the IMDb page of the actress who plays Rapunzel, you'll find that this is the only acting job that she has. I'm almost out of watermelon. Oh, anyway, so Jamie comes into the castle and Rapunzel immediately disappears, and it doesn't look at the inside of the castle at all, which Jamie immediately points out. It looks like the floor, wall, and ceiling are all made out of white cardboard, to be honest. I guess it was back in, if there were castles, then it would have been a more primitive time, but if it was a castle, then it should have been good. I don't know. Oh, here's a fun thing to think about. Many people are saying, like, oh, we're running out of resources and stuff. And yeah, I do agree Thanos may be right in some form in Avengers Infinity War to kill off half of life in the universe to make more resources. But, number one, life is resources. We get a lot of our resources from plants and this is grateful. And, like, you know, animals. So, if he kills off half of all life, that would include half of all plants and animals. If he divides the humans in half and the plants and the animals, that kind of just halves the resources as well. But anyway, so, but he is kind of wrong, because the more people there are, the more minds there are to create. People are saying, like, oh, we're running out of stuff. But back a month ago, you would have to work somewhere for a month before you'd be able to afford a TV. And you'd also have to, like, pay for rent and food and water and stuff like that. But if you were just focusing on TV, it would take you a month. Now, it would only take you 2 days. I mean, probably a month, because you have to focus on rent and food and water. But if you were just saving up for a TV, you could pay it off in 2 days if you work for 8 hours a day, or even just $15. Because, like, there are, like, TVs for, like, $200 now. Dang. But anyway, also King Louis something. King Louis the something number of some sort. Apparently every single dinner he'd just come down and then be great with like 40 different dishes that he could have for dinner, and then he would just choose which one, and then I guess they'd chuck the rest of them, or maybe give them to homeless people, I don't know. Now all that we have to do is go to the grocery store, and not only do we have more variety, we have more supposedly healthier and tastier choices. But anyway, so Jamie looks around and then sees a whole bunch of mechanical stuff, including something that's literally printing off exactly what's happening to the Doctor and Zoe. Seems like the story is actually trying to make itself make sense. I think the writers started to realize that the story wasn't making sense, so then they decided to make sense of it by setting a whole bunch of mechanical and technological things around, which I guess is supposedly possible. I never say that something is impossible. Maybe in 20 years someone will be capable of making something like this. Probably now, if every single human on the planet banded together, they would probably be able to make some sort of machines that could just control the reality. Maybe the guy is the reality stone. Sorry, I've become much of a Marvel fan. I need to start reviewing more superhero movies more often. But anyway, so Jamie and Zoe are just going around, then all of a sudden find Medusa? Medusa, despite the fact that it's clearly a statue, and it starts to come to life because the Doctor said that in the myth it started out alive and then became a statue, so in this case it's going to be reversed. And he thinks that for absolutely no reason whatsoever, and by coming to life just the snakes start to move, and then they're all like, oh well, don't look at Medusa, despite the fact that they were looking at her eyes as a statue, and somehow that is okay, and then Zoe starts saying that she has to look at her for some reason, and holy crap, this makes no sense. Why is Zoe struggling so much to believe that this is a fake? Oh, that's a cliffhanger for part 3, but oh my god, so why is the viewer okay to look at the eyes? I mean, it wouldn't have been that hard to just take it away. I guess they had the zoom up of the eye, but Zoe, like, what, you know, like, is there some sort of chemical, it doesn't even have to be science, just, there's some sort of thing that's making her think that all of this is real when she knows that it isn't? So why isn't it affecting the Doctor? Because the Doctor's mind is advanced, I guess. Diddling, 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 diddling. It's just not even hard for me to cover my mouth. Says the Doctor right before we look at her eyes. So, the Doctor, why do you have your eyes open and why are you looking directly at her? Zoe, why do you have your eyes open? So Jamie continues reading off the little thing that comes out about the Doctor and Zoe, and I guess believes it, despite the fact that he has no reason to believe it, and then is reading it out loud, despite the fact that there's no one else in the room, but I guess they need someone to read it to the viewer, despite the fact that they should be teaching the viewers to read, and also there's probably an adult in the room that can read it for them, and I don't know, I just feel like they could have just filmed the thing, so that they could, like, be like, you could read it, I don't know. I just saw this TV show once, and there's like, if I can understand Spanish, then I would be able to understand what they're saying. And then another character just says, yeah, and you'd also be able to understand this. And then they say something in Spanish, and then they just never reveal it. So it's like telling the viewer to, like, learn Spanish, and then maybe you can rewatch the episode and understand it. But I guess at this point, they only, like, played it once. It's a good thing that this wasn't missing like the others. It's the Celestial Tourmaker. Well, we have episode 4. But anyway, so a sword magically appears at the Doctor's feet, and then the Doctor picks it up. And I remember when I first watched this that it was like a dagger, but now it's like as tall as like this about. But anyway, so the doctor comes to the conclusion that he can't kill her because how can he kill something that doesn't exist, despite the fact that technically the sword shouldn't exist, but I guess there are swords in the real world, and Zoe feels the need to look at Medusa for no reason whatsoever. So then the doctor pulls out a mirror and then gets Zoe to look at the mirror and then see Medusa, and then that magically makes her think that she no longer exists, and then by no longer exists, does she turn to a cardboard cutout? No. Does she disappear like the unicorn? Does she just disappear completely like the Minotaur? No, she just turns back into a statue, or just freezes, whatever. The snakes go down, I don't know. I never got the mirror thing. I thought the whole point of the mirror thing was that it could, like, so that you could show the being the mirror and then use that to turn them to stone, despite the fact that that would make no sense in their biology to be like that, but it makes no sense for someone to look at something to turn to stone anyway. The entire concept of Medusa is that you look at her, you see her as so ugly that you turn to stone. If people back in those days, all they had to do was look at something ugly and then be turned to stone, you know what's on the internet. All kinds of weird things and stuff like that. I don't even know. Maybe we've evolved that we can now look at Medusa and not turn to stone. Or maybe we'll just get paralyzed or something. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. How does looking at something in a mirror make it okay? Thanks for the brief glare there, Doctor. Don't be too cruel on their intelligence because I just looked at the expiry date, but I'm looking at it from the other side. So that's obviously a 2, but I thought that was a 6 because when I looked at the 6, I was looking at it from this side. It's 2019. Eat it by 2019. Found this double chocolate chip cookie to replace the watermelon. Sorry that I'm talking super sarcastically, but this whole episode's kind of sarcastic. Because then Jamie just steps away from the thing because the thing starts saying cancel, cancel, the thing is failure, so it was a test, but I thought that it was just printing out the events. I'm surprised that didn't say Jamie started reading the thing and then it could have just looped in that. And then Jamie sees an alarm thing and the alarm goes off and then he meets Gulliver again, who then walks through it and then meets him and then Jamie's all stern and the wild robots come by and this time Gulliver doesn't give him away because he was so stern that time. And then Gulliver sees something and then a cage has randomly appeared over the window. And then Jamie's like, I got in alright, but how do I get out? So it's like if you climb through the window and then you keep your eye on it, you can still get out. But then if you go like this, then all of a sudden there's a cage in it. Is that how it worked? I don't know. Actually, you shouldn't try to make sense out of this anyway. That's always a problem that I have with the TARDIS doors, though. Because, like, so here's the TARDIS. You have the doors, like the outside of the doors. This is the outside, the front of the TARDIS right here. As soon as you open it up, though, the front doors become weird gray things with white circles. So what happens if you just waltz into the TARDIS? Like, at what point does it stop being a telephone box door and become the gray thing with white? But, like, if you just kept your eye on it and then look away, it would suddenly be like that. But if you kept your eye on it, it'd be fine. And then you can have someone else looking at it and you see the doors completely differently. But anyway, so the Doctor and Zoe then meet this superhero called the Carcass, who apparently existed in the year 2000. I'm surprised that in the year 2000 they didn't actually make a superhero called the Carcass. But I guess in the year 2000 they didn't know much about the episode here, despite the fact that this is a VHS, so it must have been released out. And stupid review stuff said that it doesn't make sense for Zoe to be from the year 2000, but I think she was from the year 2050. It's like, you know, how I can say, like, Superman was made in 19 whatever, but it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm from that year. Oh, I'm talking too much! So Carcass has this gun that the Doctor says is scientifically impossible, so he says it doesn't exist, and, like... Doctor, you just said that his gun was scientifically impossible and didn't exist, and then you made it disappear, but despite the fact that nothing's scientifically impossible, but it's the mind orb or whatever, and then he doesn't say that the Carcass doesn't exist because he never heard of him? I don't know, whatever. I like how the Carcass just patiently waits his turn to be flipped there. Okay. So the Carcass easily loses the fight in the Doctor. So I remember showing this to my mom, and she was like, she really liked the fight scene. She was like, wow, go Zoe. And the Doctor doesn't really do much at all. But anyway, so the Carcass's logic is that if he loses the fight, he instantly becomes a servant. It's like that Harry Potter wand. I was never really a fan of Harry Potter. Maybe I'll review that someday. But, like, the whole point of the final big wand in the final 2 movies, whatever, is that, like, it's like the most powerful wand, but it'll be the servant of whoever killed its last master. Shouldn't whoever killed the last master be like its greatest enemy? Why did he magically become the servant of it? I don't know. Anyway, so the Doctor then goes by and then And then he gets by and gets into the castle, despite the fact that this isn't supposed to make any sense. And I would think that the Jamie and the Doctor and the Zoe would never be able to get back together. Because the thing would be just, it's not even just an enormous place. It just doesn't really even make any sense. It's like that Batman episode where Catwoman's like, this maze, if you go into it, it may take the rest of your life to get out. But unless if you get to the center, in which case you'll never get out. But Batman just instantly goes in and out with no problem, without much explanation, except for the fact that he knows how a maze works. And anyway, so the Doctor gets by just pretending to be the carcass, and then they're just fine with him going in, which means that they must have had no visuals, right? Because they must have just been going by audio. Yet the Doctor feels the need to cover Zoe with his coat. This makes no sense. I like it. What the heck is this feature? If I hit the skip button on my remote, it, like, jumps back and forth. What the heck? It jumps back and forth 5 minutes. That's cool. Peter doesn't agree with what Gulliver's saying, and I honestly don't know what he's saying, so the Doctor acts all cute, and he's like, oh, yes, yes, we'll do exactly what you say. Look at his face, though. A little blink. I keep thinking back to when it said that, like, Zoe wasn't that great at history, but she hasn't really showed that so far, except for when she was telling about the carcass, she accidentally said in one of her lines, but, you know, they only had one chance to do this. It's cool how the actors can just say, like, and then just keep acting and stuff like that. It's really cool. But anyway, so the Doctor actually says something that, again, makes no sense, but it actually is pretty interesting, because he says, like, if you write down something that's already happened, well, that you know that happened, because if you write down a story and it has happened but you don't know it, then if the universe is infinite, then probably everything that's possible happened somewhere in the universe. And anything that's not possible just happened in another universe in the multiverse. And anything that abides by the laws of physics, which I guess is also not possible, happens in a parallel. I don't know. Anyway, so the Doctor says that if you write down something that's already happened, that's history. But if you write down something that hasn't happened, in other words, if the writing comes first, I like that because it's implying that anything's possible. And if the universe goes on forever, then everything that's written down is bound to happen at some point and somewhere in the universe. That's fiction. But then he comes to the conclusion that if he and Zoe had done what the writing said, that they would have become fiction. For a moment I was thinking, well, you might as well just stay by the thing forever and just make sure not to do whatever it says. But then I decided, oh, I guess you should just kind of book it, because we want to make it to the TARDIS, and also, the machine could just easily say the Doctor, Zoe, and Jamie got up and left, and then just not type anything. So then the Doctor and Zoe and Jamie would have to stay by it. Yeah, because if they get up, then they become fiction. Was that a cage, or are the things razor sharp? Oh, that was cool. It made it look like it was the brain, but then it turns out it's just that guy. Oh, those doors are pretty cool. Yeah, no crap. It must be like to make a world like this. Thought he almost said someone else. Oh no, I'm sure you're not a prisoner at all. What? So you're telling me that Jamie did not see that robot? Huh, I guess all the ways are blocked off. What that robot didn't just... Oh, whatever. So Jamie asked why Gulliver was able to go through the thing, and then the Doctor just says in a throwaway line, he's not real, we are. But I thought that he, like, stepped over it. Oh, I guess he does walk through it. But anyway, so Jamie and Zoe get captured by the white robots anyway, and then they get crushed in a magic book. Cliffhanger for part 4. Okay, this might not make sense at first glance, but I find this similar to Heaven Sent in the way that it doesn't really make much sense. This one doesn't make any sense at all. But, like, you know, humans are fascinated by what they don't understand. On to part 5. I'm getting tired. Like, you know, tired, like I need to take a nap, I think. Diddling, 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 diddling. I remember at the cliffhanger for part 4 when Grandma and Grandpa were watching this, and Grandpa's like, oh, this is the one where you told me that there's 10 of them, and they look disappointed. But that was the War Games I was talking about, because I told him that there was this big 10-parter coming up, but I didn't mean like right away. But anyway, so the master, not the master, but the master. I find it weird how like you would normally only say the when you're saying a word that begins with a vowel, but you also say the if you're saying like, oh, you mean the Doctor or the William Shakespeare, you know what I'm saying. The Doctor compliments humanity, saying that's one of the few species capable of imagination. But does that mean that he's not capable? Or is this show forgetting that he's an alien again, despite the fact that the season 6 ending, the ending of season 6 has, well, I guess they wouldn't have planned the whole season. Oh, but I guess he said Earth-like, so whatever. So, by the logic of the mind robber, them being crushed in a book instantly makes them turn to fiction. I can just imagine the kids watching the show, picking up books and trying to close themselves in it to become fiction. Or being scared that if that happened, then they become fiction. But getting crushed in a book.
Yo, what's good, what's good?
Who are you?
How are y'all doing? I'm you from the back of
Like
your
in
mind.
memory bank, you know, like the memories that get pressed into the back of your mind, like, you know, the toys that you used to play with as a kid, and then all of a sudden you're burying through your basement toys, and then all of a sudden you just see something, and then all the memories come back.
About this scene from the mind robbery that you almost didn't mention.
Oh yeah, I remember. Everyone always burst out laughing. I can't remember what he said though.
Must submit, you have no alternative. I have yet to see a robot that can climb.
Oh. You weren't joking. Wow. That was actually funny. Wow. So much crap is going on here. Crap isn't a swear word. So, the Doctor escapes somehow, and then Jamie and Zoe pop up, but they've turned to fiction, so they end up saying the same lines, which I guess is the things that only fictional characters can say what they said in their stories. So then the Doctor finds a weird window and tries to get down, and Jamie and Zoe don't even try to stop him. The Doctor says that he needs the strength of Carcass, and then Carcass appears, because now he has super strength, despite the fact that he couldn't even beat the Doctor and Zoe in a fight. And then they use Rapunzel's hair as a rope, and I like how Carcass just says a rope and brings over Rapunzel. And then he picks up the thing, and he's like, do you want this? And the Doctor's like, no, I just want to get down here. He's like, just takes it away to who knows where. And the Doctor types into a typewriter and almost writes down, the enemy had been defeated by the Doctor without saying any details, but I guess that he was in a rush because he wants to make his own fictional words and make them come true. But then he almost turns himself into fiction, and then he almost becomes the Master's new successor. But then they end up in a really cool action-packed lucid dreaming contest that really reminds me of lucid dreaming. The ability to be aware that you're dreaming while in the dream, meaning that you can make stuff up and make whatever you want happens in your dream. I did that as a kid, and I'm working on it now because I want to experience that ability of true power again without making yourself too excited or else you wake up. I recommend spinning around if you feel like you're going to wake up from a dream. It'll help you, like, spin around in the dream. It'll help keep you awake. I really recommend it. It's really cool, but it makes no sense. Despite the fact that couldn't the Doctor have just written down, like, the enemy had been defeated by Jamie and Zoe or whatever? But anyway, so he climbs back up because he's almost captured by the robotic soldier thing, and then he's meted by all the kids and Rapunzel and Carcass, and then they start playing Ring Around the Rosie, a pocket full of posy. They say a tissue, we all fall down. I thought it was husha, husha. But anyway, so anyway, the Doctor sees the TARDIS and falls for it, despite the fact that he, like, everything in here is fiction, so why wouldn't the TARDIS be? I guess the Doctor was slightly losing his mind. I don't know. I mean, honestly, living in a fictional castle with just people who are asking you, like, if there's anything they could do to make you feel better, might not be the worst thing. I guess Jamie and Zoe come out. Oh, I like that, because normally the Doctor is the one saying all that, saying like, oh, blah, 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 you'll explain later, or whatever. Was this written by kids? What the heck? What's happening? Whoa, gee. Whoa. Maybe kids are evil. What the heck?
Sausages.
That's the biggest. That's the new thing now. You say sausages. I find this interesting, the pillow arrangement. Green, yellow, red, like traffic lights. That's cool. Okay, this was written by kids. I don't care what anyone tells me.
A swashbuckling figure appeared. Poet and swordsman, the famous Cyrano de Bergerac.
What's wrong with his nose?
Dared to poke fun at his nose.
Oh, oops. I have 33 minutes of battery power and 33 minutes of room on my camera. Anyway, so the doctor makes a fearless figure appear despite the fact that he looks afraid later. It's basically lucid dreaming. The master wants to take over the Earth? What? Couldn't this have just been some sort of fiction runaround thing? So Jamie and Zoe defeat the master because... Oh, something to do with overloading or something.
The one that's caused all this trouble. Hey, all right. I'm not altogether sure where I am. Is this the office of the Ensign magazine?
He doesn't remember anything?
Just like we were.
Wow.
They've been using your mind.
He's forgotten all of it. Holy crap.
White robots are. Their last order was to destroy. Let's just hope they're destroying one another.
Oh, Jamie and Zoe took the typewriter and told the robots to destroy. Exactly, the doctor. Why couldn't you just do that? You didn't have to say the villain had been defeated by the doctor. Just say like the villains were defeated and everything was okay. The doctor and oh wait, I was gonna say they were back in the TARDIS. Okay, that wouldn't work.
Send us into oblivion.
You mean we could vanish forever? Well, we shall soon know. Hang on. Here it comes.
Okay then. Yeah, babysitters, show this to your kids that you're looking after. I'm sure that'll keep them entertained for quite a little bit. Oh, DVD stopped here. I guess I just stopped recording. I guess I didn't think the credits were that important. Whatever. Okay, thank you all so. Oh, and this, would I recommend this? Yes. Go check it out. I would recommend the Celestial Toymaker 2 if it ever gets found, which it probably won't, but oh well. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, if you did, please like. I really enjoyed it. If you didn't like it, please. If you disliked it, if you didn't enjoy it, leave a comment down below. If I didn't talk about it, all awesome, get some motivation, encouragement. If you didn't like it, please leave a comment down below. Say why you didn't like it, so I can proof next time. Otherwise, we won't be able to prove it. I'm just going to treat it dislike because if we're a like. And subscribe so that you know when my next video comes out. Thanks again so much for watching. And as always, I'll see you next time. We'll review story number 46, The Invasion. And remember, in the first part of that review, I wouldn't have filmed this yet. I'm going to go charge my camera. Okay, bye-bye. Well, I got 30 minutes of battery and 30 minutes of room again. Bye-bye. I just disapprove of you in the fact that you drink alcohol. Like, I